Good morning, everyone. Today, I invite you to explore a simple but powerful idea. Let go and see what happens. From the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep, many of us strive to control the events, the people, and the outcomes in our lives. We plan, we organize, we double check and overthink. We believe that if we just try hard enough, if we prepare thoroughly enough, we can shield ourselves from failure, disappointment, or pain. It feels comforting to think that life can be shaped into a predictable, controllable pattern. But the truth is far less rigid and far more liberating once we accept it. Control is and has always been an illusion. No matter how meticulously we plan, life retains the ability and often the tendency to surprise us. Relationships end despite our best efforts. Opportunities appear from nowhere. Tragedy and triumph alike come uninvited. Circumstances shift in ways we never anticipated. The market crashes. Someone says yes when we thought they would say no. A sudden inspiration sends our lives in an entirely new direction. Despite our modern obsession with certainty, despite our schedules, our contracts, our safety nets, life remains inherently unpredictable. We live in a dynamic, interconnected world where countless factors, most of which we cannot see or influence, shape our experiences. And yet, knowing this, we still cling tightly to control. We map out every step, stress over every detail, and resist anything that deviates from our carefully constructed plans. Ironically, this tight grip doesn't protect us. It often limits us. It shrinks our world down to what we can predict and manage, cutting us off from the serendipity, creativity, and freedom that only emerge when we loosen our hold. Trying to control life is like trying to control the ocean. You can build a boat, you can learn to sail, you can read the weather patterns, but you cannot control the tide. Fighting it wastes your energy. Working with it, flowing with it, allows you to go farther and experience more than you could have ever commanded through force alone. Recognizing that control is an illusion doesn't mean we stop caring or stop acting. It means we act wisely, preparing and planning while holding a deep, calm awareness that outcomes are never entirely in our hands. It means releasing the anxiety that stems from believing we must force everything to go exactly as we wish. Paradoxically, when we let go of the need to control, we actually become more powerful. We move through life with greater flexibility, creativity, and peace. We respond to challenges instead of resisting them. We find opportunities in unexpected places. We become co-creators with life, not rigid controllers of it. Accepting the unpredictability of life doesn't weaken us, it frees us. It shifts our energy from fear to trust, from limitation to possibility. And when we embrace this truth, when we let go of our desperate need for control, we finally step into the fullest, richest versions of our lives. One of the biggest misconceptions about letting go is the belief that it means surrendering in defeat, abandoning ambition, or giving up hope. Many people associate letting go with weakness, as if it's something you do only when you have failed or when you no longer have the strength to continue. But in reality, letting go is not giving up. It is one of the most powerful, courageous acts you can perform. Letting go is not about quitting. It's not about withdrawing your effort, your passion, or your dreams. It's about releasing your grip on how things must happen and instead choosing to trust yourself, trust the process, and trust life itself. It means recognizing that while your dreams and goals are valid, the exact path and timing toward them are not always within your control. It means accepting that there are many ways to arrive at fulfillment. often ways that are better, richer, and more meaningful than the ones we first imagined. When you let go, you are not walking away from your desires. You are walking away from your rigid attachment to how those desires must unfold. You are telling yourself, I am capable. I am resourceful. I am enough, even if the outcome looks different from what I first planned. You are stepping into a deeper partnership with life, allowing space for intuition, for unseen opportunities, for new ideas, and for unexpected growth. Think of a climber scaling a mountain. Sometimes to move forward, they must let go of the ledge they are clinging to. Staying there might feel safe, but it also traps them. Only by releasing their grasp, by taking a leap toward the next hold, can they continue their ascent. Similarly, in life, there are moments when holding on too tightly keeps us stuck in old identities, outdated dreams, or unhealthy patterns. Letting go is the leap that frees us to rise higher. Trusting yourself during this process is vital. It requires confidence in your ability to adapt, to learn, and to navigate whatever arises. It's about believing that you are more than your plans. It's about believing that life is not a narrow, one-way road, but a vast, interconnected landscape full of possibilities that you have yet to discover. At its core, letting go is an act of faith. Faith in your inner resilience, faith in the wisdom of timing, faith in the unfolding of life beyond the limits of your current vision. It acknowledges that your journey is not a straight line, but a living, evolving adventure. And that sometimes the greatest breakthroughs happen not when we push harder, but when we pause, breathe, and release our need to force an outcome. Letting go doesn't mean you stop dreaming big or working hard. It means you stop carrying the burden of control so heavily on your shoulders. You do your part. You prepare, you strive, you invest your heart, and then you allow the mystery of life to do its part as well. To dance between effort and surrender, between intention and openness, between ambition and humility. And in this dance, we find a deeper, more lasting strength, a strength that is rooted not in control, but in trust. Throughout life, we are taught to resist anything that doesn't align with our expectations. We are conditioned to push back against challenges, to fight reality when it doesn't meet our desires, and to wrestle with circumstances that feel unfair or painful. On the surface, resistance feels active. It feels like strength. We believe that if we resist hard enough, we can change what we don't like, avoid discomfort, or somehow force reality to bend to our will. But the hidden cost of resistance is immense. Resistance, at its core, breeds suffering. It deepens our wounds and magnifies our pain. It traps us in cycles of frustration, anger, and despair. When we resist what is happening, whether it's a personal loss, an unexpected change, or an uncomfortable emotion, we are essentially declaring war on reality itself. And in that war, we are always the ones who suffer the most. Imagine standing in a river with a strong current. If you fight against the flow, struggling to stay in one place, you exhaust yourself, you lose balance, and eventually you are overwhelmed. But if you accept the current, if you learn to float and move with it, you conserve your strength. You find a rhythm with the water. You maintain your power not by opposing the river, but by working with it. Life is very much the same. When we accept what is, when we recognize reality without trying to deny it, battle it, or reshape it immediately, we create space for peace to enter. Acceptance is not passivity, it is clarity. It allows us to see the situation clearly without the fog of anger or fear clouding our vision. Only from a place of acceptance can we make wise, thoughtful decisions about how to respond. Only from acceptance can true change begin. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of what's happening. It doesn't mean you like it or that you stop wishing for something better. It simply means that you recognize and acknowledge the truth of the present moment without resistance. In doing so, you remove the extra layer of pain, the pain that comes not from the situation itself, but from your refusal to accept it. For example, losing a job is painful, but resisting the reality of that loss, clinging to what was, endlessly replaying the unfairness, drowning in what ifs, multiplies the pain. Acceptance allows you to say, this has happened. I may not like it, but it is real. Now how will I move forward? Acceptance doesn't erase the hurt, but it removes the unnecessary suffering that resistance piles on top of it. Moreover, acceptance opens the door to healing. When we stop fighting the way things are, we free up energy to heal, to grow, and to create new possibilities. Acceptance empowers us to move forward without dragging the heavy weight of resentment, denial, or bitterness behind us. It allows us to grieve without being consumed, to change course without losing ourselves, and to embrace the unknown with courage. In relationships, acceptance means seeing others as they are, not as we wish them to be. It means letting people have their own journeys without trying to control or fix them. In personal struggles, acceptance means honoring our emotions, our flaws, and our humanity without judgment. Ultimately, resistance ties us to the past and to illusions of control, while acceptance connects us to the present and to the possibilities of transformation. Peace is not found in changing everything around us to suit our preferences. Peace is found in changing our relationship to what is. Creativity at its heart is about possibility. It is the ability to imagine, to dream, to connect ideas in new ways, and to find solutions that others cannot yet see. Innovation, similarly, is the ability to build something fresh, to transform problems into breakthroughs, to forge new paths where none seem to exist. But both creativity and innovation share a crucial requirement. They need openness to thrive. When we approach life with rigidity, when we cling too tightly to our existing ideas, plans, or expectations, we limit the space in which creativity can grow. Rigidity closes doors. It sets narrow parameters for what is acceptable or possible. It demands that solutions fit a specific mold, that ideas follow a predetermined path. And when we force creativity to operate within tight constraints, we suffocate its natural energy. Creativity is a living, breathing force. It requires flexibility. It demands curiosity. It blossoms in environments where the unknown is welcomed rather than feared. It thrives when we are willing to say, I don't know the answer yet, but I'm willing to explore. History is filled with examples of great innovations born from a willingness to let go of rigid thinking. The greatest scientific discoveries, artistic masterpieces, and technological revolutions often came from minds that dared to be open to question assumptions, to embrace uncertainty. Consider Thomas Edison, whose invention of the light bulb was not the result of following a straight, rigid plan, but the product of thousands of experiments, failures, and adjustments. Or think of artists like Picasso, who continually broke the boundaries of artistic norms, refusing to adhere to traditional standards of beauty and form, thereby creating entirely new ways of seeing the world. Their creativity flourished because they allowed space for exploration, for trial and error, for letting go of what should be in favor of discovering what could be. Openness means embracing the unexpected. It means seeing mistakes not as dead ends, but as stepping stones. It means understanding that the best ideas often come from the places we least expect, from accidents, from surprises, from questions we hadn't thought to ask. When you are open, you allow inspiration to come from anywhere. A conversation, a walk in nature, a book you weren't planning to read, a setback that forces you to rethink everything. All of these become opportunities for creativity to awaken and take form. Openness transforms obstacles into fuel for innovation. In contrast, rigidity demands predictability. It seeks to control the creative process, to minimize risk, to guarantee a certain outcome. But creativity, by its very nature, resists guarantees. It requires a willingness to step into the unknown without a map. It asks for bravery, the bravery to release control, to experiment, to play, and to be wrong sometimes. In leadership, business, education, and personal growth, the most dynamic and successful environments are those that nurture openness. They encourage questions rather than punish them. They value experimentation over perfection. They recognize that true innovation doesn't come from following a formula, it comes from breaking one. Openness invites collaboration. It recognizes that no single mind has all the answers, that diversity of thought and perspective enriches creative outcomes. In rigid environments, voices are silenced and creativity shrinks. In open environments, ideas cross-pollinate, possibilities expand, and breakthroughs occur. Ultimately, creativity and innovation do not thrive in conditions of fear, control, or rigid certainty. They flourish when there is room to breathe, room to wonder, room to try and to fail and to try again. They flourish when we are willing to let go of our fixed ideas and embrace the living, evolving nature of the creative process. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that shape human behavior. It can protect us in moments of real danger, sharpening our senses and helping us survive. But more often, especially in today's world, fear acts not as a protector, but as a barrier, a silent, relentless limiter of our possibilities. Fear shrinks our world. It narrows our vision. It persuades us to play small, to stay safe, and to avoid the risks that true growth demands. Fear whispers doubts into our minds. What if you fail? What if they judge you? What if you're not enough? And when we listen to those whispers, when we allow fear to dictate our actions, we begin to confine ourselves inside invisible walls. We stop trying new things. We hesitate to speak up, to move forward, to leap into opportunities that call to our deepest selves. Fear creates a scarcity mindset, a belief that there is not enough success, not enough love, not enough safety to go around. It convinces us to cling tightly to what we already know, even when it no longer serves us, because the unknown feels too frightening to face. But if fear shrinks possibilities, courage does the opposite. Courage expands them. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite fear. It is the quiet, steady voice that says, I see the risk and I choose to believe in something greater. Courage is what allows us to step outside the narrow comfort zones that fear has built around us. It is what empowers us to imagine, to act, and to create a future larger than the one fear permits. Every bold move in history, every great work of art, every leap in science, every act of profound leadership was an act of courage. Behind every achievement was a person who felt fear but refused to let it decide their future. They chose to expand rather than contract. They chose to step into the vastness of what could be rather than stay trapped in the safety of what was. Courage doesn't always look grand or dramatic. Often it is quiet and personal. It's the courage to have a difficult conversation, to admit a mistake, to start over, to dream bigger than your circumstances suggest. It's the courage to be vulnerable, to show your true self to the world, even when you fear rejection. When you choose courage over fear, you reclaim your power. You send a message not just to the world, but to yourself, that you are not defined by your fears. You are defined by your willingness to grow beyond them. The expansion that courage brings is not always immediate or obvious. Sometimes taking a courageous step leads first to uncertainty, to messiness, to a period of discomfort, but it also leads to growth, to new skills, new relationships, new horizons that you could never have accessed by staying in the familiar. Courage invites possibility into our lives. It cracks open doors that fear would have kept tightly shut. It allows us to dream bigger, act bolder, love deeper, and live more authentically. It transforms the landscape of our lives from a small fenced garden into a vast, open field where anything can take root and grow. Fear asks, what if you fail? Courage answers, what if you fly? And with every courageous choice, the world we live in becomes wider, richer, and more filled with opportunity than fear would ever allow. When we think about resilience, the ability to withstand hardship, to recover from setbacks, to continue moving forward despite obstacles, we often imagine a kind of sheer toughness, a stubborn, unyielding strength that refuses to break no matter what pressures it faces. But true resilience is not about being rigid. It is about being flexible. It is not about holding on to one plan, one vision, or one way of being with an iron grip. True resilience grows from adaptability, not attachment. Life is not a straight path. It is a winding, often unpredictable journey. It throws curveballs when we least expect them. Plans fall apart, relationships evolve or end, jobs change, opportunities vanish, and new ones emerge. The environment around us, personal, social, global, is constantly shifting. In such a dynamic world, those who are deeply attached to a single outcome, a fixed identity, or a rigid plan find themselves at constant odds with reality. They struggle not just with the external challenges, but with the internal battle of resisting change. Attachment creates fragility. When you are attached to one particular way things must go, you set yourself up for greater suffering when life inevitably moves differently. You become like a brittle branch in a storm, unable to bend and therefore easily broken. Adaptability, on the other hand, is like being a supple tree that bends in the wind but remains rooted in the earth. Adaptability allows you to adjust, to shift, to find new paths when old ones are blocked. It doesn't mean you give up your values, your dreams, or your goals. It means you remain open to the many forms those dreams and goals can take. You allow for the evolution of your plans without losing the essence of who you are or what you desire. Resilient people know how to pivot. They are willing to reassess their situations, to take in new information, and to alter their course without feeling like they have failed. They see detours not as defeats, but as opportunities for creativity and growth. They are not so tightly bound to a specific narrative of how life should be. Think about a river flowing through a landscape. When it meets a boulder, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stubbornly try to push the boulder out of the way. It flows around it, over it, or sometimes it carves a new path altogether. Over time, the river's adaptability shapes valleys, nourishes ecosystems, and continues its journey toward the sea. The river's strength lies in its flexibility, and so does ours. Adaptability also fosters innovation. It enables us to experiment with new solutions when old methods fail. It encourages us to ask better questions. If this door is closed, where else can I go? If this plan no longer fits, what new opportunity might be waiting for me? What can I learn from this unexpected change? Without adaptability, setbacks become dead ends. With adaptability, setbacks become turning points. Resilient individuals embrace change as an inevitable part of life. They understand that growth often requires discomfort, and that survival is not about forcefully resisting change, but about learning how to move with it. This mindset transforms challenges from threats into catalysts for evolution. Attachment, however, traps us in rigidity. It keeps us clinging to outdated versions of ourselves, of others, or of the future. It makes us fearful of change. Even when that change could lead to something better, it blinds us to new possibilities because we are too focused on preserving what we know. When we let go of unhealthy attachment to outcomes, identities, expectations, we free ourselves to be more resilient. We allow ourselves to adapt to new realities with grace rather than bitterness. We become more resourceful, more creative, and more hopeful. Adaptability is not a betrayal of our dreams. It is a commitment to the deeper essence of those dreams, an acknowledgement that while the form may change, the spirit can endure and even flourish through transformation. In the end, resilience is less about stubbornly enduring the storm and more about learning how to dance in the rain, to shift our footing, to adjust our sails, and to trust that every change, every bend in the road, carries the seed of something new within it. Life has a way of surprising us. No matter how carefully we plan, how meticulously we script our future, there are always factors beyond our control, twists and turns we couldn't have foreseen, paths that reveal themselves only when we least expect them. Letting go is not about abandoning hope or becoming passive. It is about clearing away the rigid structures in our minds to make room for possibilities we never could have imagined. When we cling tightly to a specific outcome, we limit the range of what can happen. We fixate on a narrow vision of success, believing that if things don't unfold exactly as we planned, they are somehow wrong or failures. We become so invested in a particular storyline that we overlook or even resist other opportunities that might be even better aligned with our true potential. Letting go dissolves this tunnel vision. It opens us to the richness of life's uncertainty. It invites in the unexpected gifts that come when we release our need to control every step of the journey. Often, the most beautiful, transformative opportunities arise from the places we least anticipated. Opportunities we never would have encountered had we insisted on forcing life to follow only our original plan. Think about how many stories begin with an apparent failure. The job that fell through, the relationship that ended, the dream that crumbled. In the moment, those experiences often feel devastating, but with time and perspective, we realize that those endings created space for something far better, far more aligned with who we were becoming. Space for a new job that brought greater fulfillment, a new relationship that offered deeper love, a new dream that resonated with our evolving soul. When we let go, we allow life to surprise us. We become receptive to the opportunities that come through unexpected doors. Doors that we might never have even noticed if we had been staring stubbornly at the one that closed. Letting go invites serendipity, synchronicity, and creative discovery into our lives. It makes us partners with the unfolding of the world rather than adversaries to it. New opportunities often don't fit neatly into our old plans because they are meant for the person we are becoming, not the person we were when we made those plans. Growth changes our needs, our dreams, and our capacities. If we insist on clinging to outdated goals, we may be fighting against our own evolution. Letting go allows our ambitions and aspirations to grow with us, to be living, breathing expressions of who we are now, not static relics of who we used to be. In letting go, we also cultivate humility, the recognition that no matter how intelligent, talented, or prepared we are, we cannot foresee everything. Life is infinitely more complex, interconnected, and mysterious than any one human mind can fully grasp. What looks like a detour may be a shortcut. What seems like a loss may be the beginning of a profound gain. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have goals or make plans. Intentions are powerful. They guide our energy and our focus. But when we hold our intentions lightly, when we remain open to how they might manifest differently than we expect, we give life the freedom to surprise us with something even greater. We allow ourselves to participate in a co-creative process where our desires and life's infinite creativity meet to shape a reality that exceeds anything we could have orchestrated on our own. Letting go requires trust in ourselves, trust in the process, and trust that the unknown holds gifts that are not immediately visible. It requires faith that not all progress is linear and that not all treasures are found on the maps we first drew. By making space, mentally, emotionally, even physically, we create the conditions in which new opportunities can find us. We make room for the unexpected job offer, the chance meeting, the sudden insight, the once-in-a-lifetime idea. We open ourselves to life's natural flow where opportunities rise and fall like waves, each one carrying its own unique potential. When we let go, we stop grasping at life. We open our hands and our hearts to receive, and often what we receive is bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than anything we dared to plan for ourselves. There is something deeply unsettling about the unknown. As human beings, we crave certainty. We want to know what lies ahead, to predict outcomes, to feel secure in the paths we walk. The unknown, with its vastness and unpredictability, often triggers fear, doubt, and hesitation. Yet it is precisely in trusting the unknown, in embracing its mysteries instead of resisting them, that we open ourselves to profound growth, a deeper sense of freedom, and experiences of breathtaking beauty we could never have scripted for ourselves. Trusting the unknown is an act of courage. It requires us to loosen our grip on the familiar, to step outside the walls of routine and certainty, and to move forward without a guaranteed destination. It asks us to walk into fog without seeing the full road ahead, relying not on external assurances, but on an internal compass, a quiet faith that even without all the answers, we are capable of navigating whatever comes. When we trust the unknown, we give ourselves permission to evolve. Growth rarely happens in the comfort zones where everything is controlled and familiar. True transformation happens when we are stretched, when we encounter challenges we couldn't have anticipated, when we are forced to discover strengths we didn't know we possessed. The unknown introduces us to new facets of ourselves. It reveals hidden reservoirs of resilience, creativity, and wisdom that routine life never would have called forth. Trusting the unknown also leads to a powerful form of freedom, the freedom to live without being bound by rigid expectations or fears. So much of our anxiety stems from trying to predict and control every aspect of our future. We exhaust ourselves building imaginary walls to guard against possibilities that might never even occur. When we trust the unknown, we begin to dismantle those walls. We release ourselves from the prison of overthinking and hyper-control. We realize that freedom is not found in knowing everything, but in being open to anything. In that openness, life becomes an adventure again. Every day holds the potential for discovery, connection, and wonder. Trusting the unknown means believing that even when things don't go according to our plans, there is still meaning, still goodness, still a path unfolding with purpose. It means believing that detours can become destinations, that unanswered questions can lead to deeper wisdom, and that broken dreams can give birth to even better reality. The most beautiful moments in life often come when we least expect them. A chance encounter that leads to lifelong friendship, a sudden opportunity that changes our career path, an unexpected experience that awakens a passion we didn't know we had. These moments are rarely products of careful planning. They are gifts from the unknown. They are the rewards of being willing to step into uncertainty with open hands and an open heart. Trusting the unknown does not mean being reckless or abandoning all structure. It means balancing intention with surrender. It means setting our course while being willing to adjust our sails when the winds of life shift. It means holding hope and ambition while releasing attachment to exactly how and when they will materialize. It's a dynamic, living relationship with life itself. A dance, not a dictatorship. When we trust the unknown, we acknowledge that life is bigger than our plans. We tap into a deeper rhythm, a larger story, one that connects us to forces of creativity, timing, and destiny, far beyond our individual perspective. We realize that not everything good can be controlled, and not every blessing can be earned through effort alone. Some of the richest experiences are simply invitations we must be willing to accept, even when the path forward is unclear. In trusting the unknown, we also cultivate patience, the understanding that just because we cannot see the fruit immediately does not mean the seed is not growing. We learn to live in the in-between spaces, the spaces of waiting, of wondering, of trusting that life is unfolding as it should, even when the evidence is not yet visible. Ultimately, trusting the unknown is not about naive optimism, it is about deep wisdom. It is the understanding that the most authentic growth, the most liberating freedom, and the most breathtaking beauty often lie just beyond the edge of what we know. And to reach them, we must be willing to step forward, not with perfect certainty, but with wholehearted trust. As we've explored today, letting go is not about surrendering to defeat or abandoning our dreams. It is about embracing life's natural flow, freeing ourselves from the constraints of rigid control, and opening ourselves to the vast, unpredictable potential of the unknown. It's in the moments of uncertainty that we discover our true capacity for resilience, creativity, and growth. When we trust the process, when we trust that life will unfold in ways we couldn't have planned or predicted, we make space for new opportunities, relationships, and experiences that are even greater than anything we could have imagined. In letting go, we let life move through us, guiding us toward the unexpected beauty and freedom that only come when we release our attachment to specific outcomes. The truth is, we can't always control the circumstances we face, but we can choose how we respond. We can choose to trust, to adapt, to grow, and to see every challenge as an opportunity for a transformation. So, Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the fear of the unknown and trust that when you do, life will surprise you in ways you never thought possible. Because in the end, it is in letting go that we find our greatest strength. A strength that comes not from holding tight, but from opening our hearts to the endless possibilities that await.